there's a lot of like anti-Muslim propaganda. And
Yeah, a lot of that.
Yeah, and like growing up a Muslim in a country like that, you kind of like there's like I know a lot of my peers have been through like a little like identity crisis of a bit. It's like, am I a Muslim or am I an American, or can I be both? Because like it's like balancing the two ideals. And I know personally I've been like caught in a schism. Of that where.
So when dealing with that, when was that? When was that? Like high school?
Yeah, it was like high school and like even now.
Even
now. It was a lot in high school for sure. I'd get like the little terrorist jokes every now and then. And
that's
like. And then it's like, especially with the pressure to drink in Western culture, like being a Muslim, like we're not supposed to drink, we're not supposed to smoke,
right?
And then like
no pork.
Yeah, pretty much. And then like you kind of feel like pressured to do all of that, and then when you do it, you can't help but feel like a little bit of inner guilt, and I guess like that comes out in my like work a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say like so kind of segueing into that. So hip hop was created pretty much started in the Bronx in the late 70s, and some would argue that it's a very American thing, even despite the fact that right now it's like global.
I disagree with that.
It's global, right?
I think hip hop hip hop is like a universal language. I'd say so. It's just like I say not even just hip hop, just music in general. Hip hop is just like. I think hip hop can be more of a poetic form of music than other forms of music, just because there's a lot of basis on the lyrics. And what's cool about that is like everyone can have their lyrics, but in hip hop, the way you deliver those lyrics, like your flow or whatever,
your voice,
your voice, exactly.
You're given a voice.
Your voice and your opinion, it varies from like person to person, and it's like that's why it's always. Hip-hop is always getting so fresh, because it's like a different voice, like a different...
Constant.
I mean, recently it's kind of stagnated, of course.
Right.
But, like, if you know the right places to look, you can find it.
You can still find it. Yeah. Which is where you are.
Yeah.
The underground.
The underground, yeah.
So kind of going back, real quick. So, like... so dealing with this conflict of, like, almost a dual consciousness of, like, being Muslim and being an American...
Yeah.
And kind of almost separate, seeing them as separate in a way, or like as just more conflicting, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you found any way of resolving that issue through hip hop?
I have. It's just been hip hop's allowed me to like get those issues out of like myself and onto like project it into something positive, which is like music. Like every time like I write something on the paper, like if I like truly feel it, like it's not even hard to like write the lyrics out. I mean, there's some times where like if I'm like bullshitting a rap and like I don't really have like a sense of topic, it's like harder to write down. But then like if I'm putting down something that's like truly from the inside, like when I write down about like that inner struggle, it just kind of like comes out.
It just comes out
like naturally, like, and that's what I feel like hip hop is. It's like hip hop is just like a stream of consciousness. Like that's why freestyling, like freestyling is such a big part of hip hop because it's so spontaneous.
It never gets old.
It never gets old. You're literally on the go. You're like thinking like on the top of your head.
Dome piece.
Yeah, pretty much on the top. Yeah, on the top of your dome piece.
Cool. So talk about. So like in religion, does race ever play like a role? Or is it kind of like being like from ethnically like Bengali? Mm-hmm. Is that basically one and the same as Muslim for you?
That's a tough question.
Are they the same or like?
I never really thought about that. Yes and no, a little bit, because
like can you be Bengali but like not necessarily Muslim in your own like in the way you see yourself? If that makes any sense.
That's tough. I mean, a lot of Bengali culture is... parts of it are very Muslim, but I mean, there's also parts of Bengali culture that aren't Muslim. Like, a lot of the music, the folklore, the stories, and like, like the political struggle of Bangladesh, like, that's its own entity.
Right.
And, at times, like, I've even had arguments with my mom where she's like, you're Bengali, you're not American, like, Stop.
Really?
Yeah. No, she's told me that. Like, well, you're not American. Stop trying to be American. But it's funny because I was born in Boston.
Right.
I've only been to Bangladesh twice in my life. One of those times I don't even remember.
You're really young.
Yeah, but like, so it's like when all of your peers are one thing, and that's all you've grown up around. But then your family's telling you you're not that. You're where we came from, and they're
Right.
trying to stick you to like their family culture.
Yeah, it kind of makes you like.
It kind of
pause and,
it kind of
scratch
messes
your
with
head.
you psychologically.
I can see that.
Like,
I can see how that could like make you have a lot of questions.
yeah.
So it sounds like it almost sounds like hip hop has kind of offered you an outlet for figuring out that question.
Yeah, I mean, just like writing's always been an outlet of
Right.
mine. Even when I was little, and like I'd get. I remember one time when I was little, I really wanted to watch the movie Good Burger, but my mom wouldn't let me. So then she was like, write me a letter of why you should watch Good Burger, and I like worked my ass off on that letter. I was like, dear mom, please let me watch Good Burger. I'll be very good.
Here are the reasons why.
Here are the reasons why. And she was like, good job, but you still can't watch the movie.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. It's a trap. Anyways, like I always found solace in writing. Writing and music. Like anytime I'd get down, I'd just like either listen to music or like write down something about it. Like
cool.
I used to write poetry. I remember, like for my speech contest in 6th grade, I don't know why I just like wrote about some profound ass shit. Like made a poem called "The Riches of Life." And I talked about like all this morality, like blibber blabber, and like this really existential stuff.
And this was in 6th grade.
This was in 6th grade, and literally my teacher like, he pulled me to the side, like he was like, "Let's go on a walk," and he was like, "Who wrote this for you?" And I was like, "I wrote it," and he was like, "No, baloney."
He was like downing.
He was like, "Baloney, like you didn't write this." I'm like, "No, I wrote this."
Okay, so whatever happened. So first of all, let's go back. One thing I know about you is teachers have always hated you.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that, Kurt.
Yes.
Because it's relevant. I'm gonna like tie it into something else, but like.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Teachers have always hated me.
What do you like? Not why do you think that is, but like, do you think that's in any way, shape, or form like kind of influenced your work at all?
It does, because it's kind of like if people are always telling you like you're not gonna do something, it's like, oh, you didn't do this, and there's no way you did that.
Right.
It's like you can't do this, you can't achieve that. It's like kind of pushes you like a lot harder. Cause
I mean, I remember, even like Biggie's that one song, he's like, "This is all the haters."
Yeah, everyone who said like I was out on the
all the teachers, dedicated all the teachers out there. So I was gonna amount to nothing.
Yeah.
All the snitches from the top floors called the cops.
Like,
I was trying to
that
do
stuff
drugs.
really motivates
So I had
you.
to save the money for my
Like,
daughter.
I'm sure I've told you this,
Sending
but
for
like
you.
even in kindergarten, like my mom, like my kindergarten teacher told me and my mom to go back to our country.
Jesus Christ! Seriously?
Yeah.
So like, so you have your. I mean, if teachers are a representation of like authority,
Yeah.
especially at a young age.
Yeah.
It sounds like you haven't necessarily had a problem with authority, but authority's been having a problem with you for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Probably your race. I mean, race and
at times,
and
yeah.
religion.
Yeah.
I'm sure play a role in that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The color of your skin, people, especially post 9/11, I'm sure.
Definitely.
So that kind of like, not that hate, but like that the adversity.
Yeah.
Would you say has really kind of like inspired a lot of your
You
hip
know,
hop?
yeah, it has. It's like it sucked at the time, but it's like it's a lot of inspiration. It's like the fire behind like.
I mean,
you know.
if you kind of go back to hip hop starting, that's where it started.
It came from the struggle.
Struggle.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like when I realized like all forms of like not just hip hop, but I feel like any form of art, like the most densely concentrated and most like powerful art comes from stuff that's like it's very like real and struggle. That's why I like all this stuff that's about like all like the new hip hop shit about like very materialistic shit. Like you can tell like the difference of equality between that.
Right.
It's like going from something that's real and then something that's like bullshit.
Superficial to like to the real stuff.
Is it cool that I cuss on this?
Absolutely.
Okay,
it's
cool.
fine. the free style battle we got. Suppose cursing left and right.
Okay.
So
wait, are you putting that in there?
I'm gonna a small clip. I guess the
clip.
introduction.
Oh, okay, cool. That'll be sick.
Like the good part.
Yeah.
So let's see. So race and religion kind of have that, like, in a way, garnered adversity to you, and that adversity has thus inspired you in a way to write. In addition to, like, you just having a love for writing and finding solace in the writing itself and the expression.
Actually, so I was always into writing, but I didn't really like actually start writing raps until I was like 12, 12 or like 13. And like I'd go on this one website and on the forum, and I'd just like write out keys, like battle people with like key styles, like write out, and then like.
Did you say key styles?
Yeah, key style.
Instead of a freestyle?
Yeah.
Because that's funny.
Yeah. So it's not really a freestyle, you're just writing a written verse, but anyways. Like, and it's,
start somewhere.
yeah, exactly. I start somewhere.
Makes sense.
And then it's like, I remember the first few times I recorded something, like all I listened to was like Tupac and like all this hardcore 90s
like
stuff.
Gangster rap?
Yeah, a lot of gangster rap and like a lot of like conscious rap.
So you had kind of a mix.
Yeah, so like I remember there was one time me and like two of my best friends, like we just wrote like a song like over Still Dre for no reason, and theirs were like all funny. They were like like, oh, I got bitches and hoes and like hella money.
This is middle school.
This is middle school,
like
yeah.
Middle school rap,
and then I was like on that depressing shit like war and death and foreign math and like Bone Thugs and Harmony keep motherfuckers from harming me. And I remember like that was all I listened to. I was like a stupid ass middle school kid.
Yeah.
I remember I had one line like to all our dead homies, rest in peace. We're the best from the west and east. Like I did have some dead homies. Like what? But yeah,
but it's still like showed a certain propensity for a certain depth.
Yeah. And I remember
around you might not have been willing to go to.
And I had some grandiose like fantasies and stuff. I was like, oh, which rapper I'm gonna have beef with? I'm gonna have beef with 50 Cent. I'm gonna like.
You're like,
but it's like, can you imagine like a little 13-year-old Bengali kid like
battle rapping? Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
See.
That's kind of where I started from. And I also used to rap in high school too.
So you started in middle school and you kind of like continued on.
Yeah.
Through high school. What did you rap
in
about
high school? High school wasn't really serious. It was like
I just kind of like
I had like two friends
developing like the flow.
Pretty much developing the flow. Like I had two friends like they were working on a mixtape, and I told them like I rapped, and they were like, "Nah, you don't." And then like I put out like a little verse. I'm like, "All right, that's not bad. Like, why don't you get on their mixtape?" Like it was called the Burgundy tape. So that had like their mixtape had like a whole bunch of like intros starting from like scenes from Anchorman.
Oh,
and then,
Ron
like,
Burgundy?
Yeah, Ron Burgundy. Yeah. And then, I didn't really rap about anything serious.
Yeah, right?
I didn't really rap about anything serious. I was just kind of, like, having fun with it. But that was, like, cool.
I mean, that's what Slim Shady
like, you gotta have fun. Exactly, that's what Slim Shady does. I hate it when people, like, yeah, hip-hop has to be conscious, but, sometimes it just has to be fun, too.
Have fun, man, yeah.
Like, hip-hop is, like, if you look at, like, De La Soul and, like, Tribe Called Quest and all that, like, a lot of that was positive, like, have fun rap, too. Yeah. Besides the conscious stuff.
Right.
I feel like you have to have a good mix.
You gotta balance it.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely agree, you gotta balance it.
Yeah, because if you just listen to depressing shit all the time, it's like,
what's the point?
Fuck,
Yeah.
Listen to depressing
point
shit.
of living.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that was in high school. And then from college, you didn't start rapping until what, sophomore year?
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't start rapping until I remember, I started rapping again sophomore year. That was after I met, like, David. And I saw, like, he made beats.
You kind of got inspired again.
I kind of got inspired again. And then, like, I saw... I told you, like, Earl's Sweatshirt was kind of...
Yeah, talk about that real briefly.
Yeah, no, it was
so
weird.
You saw Earl's Sweatshirt at the concert.
I kind of, like, stopped listening to, like, the type of hip-hop I did for a bit. Because, like, my immediate friend group, like, they hated all that stuff. They're like, why do you listen to all this shit?
Well, like what?
Like, no, because like I used to listen to like a lot of Tupac, Biggie, like Bone Thugs
and your friends were like,
and my friends were all on like that party rap scene, like like a lot of
like
local,
hi-fi?
Hi-fi, local Barry, like dance, like like the generic dance beats. So then I kind of got like peer pressure. I'm like, oh well, fuck, none of my friends listen to this. Like I kind of like veered away from that.
And that was
for
in high
a bit.
school.
And that was in high school.
Coming in college, you met.
And coming into college, I met like
Campos.
and I met like people who kind of like the same music. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like people like the same type of hip hop I do. Yeah, and then like I listened to like Odd Future, and then Earl Sweatshirt was just like this 15-year-old kid with like the most insane rhyme schemes, like better than a young Nas. Like okay, not better than a young Nas, but he was pretty damn close. And I don't know, I was like, wow, like, if someone that young could do it, I'm like, fuck, I started rapping before this did.
Oh, so it wasn't so much like Earl Sweatshirt sucked.
He didn't suck, it was just like, wow, if he can...
As much as like...
And it was like, because they were around my age, too.
So,
you know, like,
so
Tyler, the Creator, is only like, what, like a few months
He's our age.
He's our age, yeah.
I remember
and it's like,
Marvin talking
you know, he's not even from the hood or anything, like, he's just...
He's a skater from LA.
Yeah, just a skater from LA, and I was like, wow, like, he's blowing up.
So if anything, it made you realize, like, age doesn't really have to hold you back in the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, age doesn't have to hold you back.
Age is kind of a new identity in a way. Like, you realize,
but
like,
I mean,
to be young doesn't really mean to be dumb.
Exactly, not at all. I feel like when you're young, that's when you have, like, the most potential to, like, grow. But at the same time, I think age is important, because if you grow older, like, the more experiences you get. The more experiences you get, the more
not so much age, but, like, experience.
Yeah. Like, the more experiences you get, the more you can, like, write about, pretty much. It's like, if you're young, like, yeah, you might have, like, all this crazy skill and stuff, but what are you going to talk about? Oh, high school relationships and stuff.
Exactly.
Or, like, that social drama.
But. Alright, so,